Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The regional governor in the Ukrainian city of Severodonetsk says fighting is fierce and the situation is very difficult. Eyewitness video showed damaged buildings in the city. Severodonetsk is a key Russian objective as part of its goal of capturing all of the eastern Luhansk region, but Ukrainian forces are mounting stiff resistance. Meanwhile, several strikes hit Kharkiv and the region around the city. Ukraine's second biggest city had been relatively quiet since Ukrainian forces regained territory around it and pushed back Russian troops this month, enabling the authorities to reopen the city's metro network. After failing to seize the capital Kyiv in its 3-month war, Russia is now trying to wrest full control of the eastern Donbass region, where it has backed a separatist revolt since 2014. Ukraine's Kalush Orchestra, which won the Eurovision Song Contest earlier this month, has raised $900,000 for the country's military battling the Russian invasion by selling the contest's trophy. The group won Eurovision with their entry Stefania, surfing a wave of public support to claim an emotional victory that was welcomed by the country's president. They have now sold the crystal microphone they were awarded in a Facebook auction. The funds raised will be used to purchase for the armed forces the PD-2 unmanned aerial system, which includes 3 aircraft and a ground control station. The US Department of Justice says it will investigate the police response to last week's mass shooting at a school in Uvalde, in Texas, which killed 19 children and 2 teachers. Public anger is growing after it emerged that officers waited in the hallway as children trapped with the shooter made desperate 911 calls. President Joe Biden visited the memorial to the victims on Sunday with his wife and First Lady Jill. As they were leaving, the gathered crowd chanted, "Do something," prompting this response. A criminal court in Egypt has sentenced a former presidential candidate to 15 years in prison with hard labor. Abdel Monaim Aboul Fatou, who is 70 and in poor health, was convicted along with an interim leader of the proscribed Muslim Brotherhood group, Mahmoud Azat, of disseminating fake news and joining a terrorist group. Both are blanket charges. Mr. Aboul Fatou was arrested in 2018 upon his return from Britain. While in London, he gave several media interviews in which he criticised President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's rule. Sudan's military government has lifted a state of emergency which it imposed after seizing power in a coup 6 months ago. Protests against the military government have continued since the coup in October. Clashes with police have killed nearly 100 people since then. In recent days, security forces have arrested many protesters targeting the leaders of the resistance movement. The country's ruling Security and Defence Council said the decision was made at a meeting headed by the military leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. It said the move was aimed at creating the right atmosphere for dialogue. Rescue workers in Nepal have recovered 14 bodies as they scoured a remote Himalayan mountainside, scattered with wreckage of a small plane that crashed with 22 people on board. Operated by privately owned Tara Air, the aircraft went down during cloudy weather on Sunday. Nepal, home to 8 of the world's 14 highest mountains, including Everest, has a record of air accidents. Its weather can change suddenly, and airstrips are typically located in mountainous areas that are hard to reach. A man seemingly disguised as an old woman in a wheelchair has staged an attack on the Mona Lisa painting. Video shared online shows the world's most famous artwork with what witnesses said was cake smeared across the glass, protecting it. Bystanders said a man dressed as an old lady jumped out of a wheelchair at the Louvre in Paris before attempting to smash the protective glass in front of the Leonardo da Vinci painting. One witness said the man then proceeded to smear cake on the glass and throw roses everywhere before being tackled by security. And finally, tens of thousands of people have flocked to the Belgian town of Dendermonde to witness a historic parade that featured 4 children riding a giant horse. Known as the Bayard Steed, the 4.85-metre tall wooden figure, carried by 12 men, had not been shown in public for 12 years. Some 86,000 onlookers witnessed the 1-ton statue crossing the Flemish city. Accompanied by giant figures, acrobats and some 2,000 actors in historical costumes, the folk ritual is only enacted once every 10 years and was postponed 2 times because of the coronavirus pandemic. It will next take place in 2030. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.